So we are at Ferry Farm, which is near Fredericksburg, Virginia. It is an archaeological site. This is the boyhood home of George Washington. You can see the 4 cornerstones laying in the ground that mark where Ferry Farm stood and where young George Washington lived. And over here, they're digging, looking for more evidence of George Washington's youth.
See what they've been finding. So right now we're looking for more outbuildings associated with the Washington House. And we're also trying to get a better distribution on our wig curler count. We currently have over 200 and Mount Vernon only has 2. And they seem to be concentrated in that area where the black tarp is. So we're trying to get a better idea. Obviously something's going on. They're either maintaining the wigs or doing something with them. It's kind of odd to have that many at one just particular site. So currently, that's what we're looking for. We haven't been able to find that many. Currently, I'm working in this area where the strings are. That's a prehistoric feature. So all we keep finding are lithics, depotasho as they're making the stone tools, the little stuff that chips off. Yeah. We've been finding a lot. And rock that they use to heat up fire and stuff, and so once it gets really hot it cracks, so we've been finding a few of those.
Okay. Interesting, how exciting!
Yeah, so I was just going to say, those are our 2 main ones that we're working on right now. This is our last week out here, so we're trying to wrap everything up for the season.
Oh, okay.
So if you want, yeah, you can go over to the water springs that are right behind the tree. You can see what they're doing and what they've been finding.
Okay, great. Thank you. We wanted to come over and see what you guys are doing.
Sure.
Have you found anything?
This is kind of near the end of the unit, so this is what we call subsoil here. Basically what it means it's a whole bunch of clay clods and rocks.
Okay.
But it is from the same period that George is the colonial period.
How can you tell?
Well, it's a pretty uniform thing across the entire site about where the various levels are, because you start with the topsoil in the 20th century, then it's antebellum, so Civil War stuff, and then colonial stuff, which kind of reflects what they were doing with the soil at the time.
Okay.
So antebellum stuff is more farming oriented, colonial stuff is more, basic household chores stuff. That's the kind of stuff you find in the soil.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you can tell by what's in it is how you...
You can date the artifacts too.
Oh, okay.
So certain potteries were only made during certain years and things like that.
Oh, okay. So it's not the actual soil, because I was like, okay, well that would erode.
The soil stuff could give you hints. It could be like, oh yes, they did plow here, or oh yes, they did.
Oh, interesting.
Like dump, because there's a cellar over there that they're digging out, and that has a big layer of ash. It didn't burn there; they just deposited it there. Okay. So it kind of tells you what was going on at the time, but it doesn't necessarily help you date it. It is the artifacts that actually tell you what they were doing and when it was there.
Oh, okay.
Especially ceramics, because ceramics apparently have a very precise range of when everything was made, when everything was used, when everything was popular. So you always know kind of what time period you're looking at when you're looking at a part of a plate, or the manufacture method of a plate, or anything like that. It is very diagnostic.
Oh, okay. And then do you have to do a lot of the research to find, when you find an artifact, do you have to do a lot of research, or do you guys study that as a part of your study?
You kind of accumulate it as you go along. As younger people as we are, we basically have to start out with the basics, which are, this is when iron was used in this way, this is when nails were manufactured this way, this is when plates were manufactured this way. And then you kind of go on from there. You can start to recognize, where it came from specifically. You can recognize individual makers' marks. It's a learning process.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then you have the real professionals who have that all cataloged.
I bet.
Well, yeah, plus we also have the lab on staff, and they do a lot of the detailed, sorting, organizing.
After we're done with it here, we bag it all up, and it goes inside, and that's where they have to catalog it all. And that's where the real interpretation comes in. Because they are going to analyze what we pulled out compared to where it is on the field, because everything is carefully cataloged and computerized. So they can make these awesome 3D heat maps of where artifact density is in it, and it's all very technical.
So do you enjoy this particular part of it, or are you like, do you want to do like the lab stuff?
People tend to have preferences about, you know, what their temperament is and what they're most comfortable with doing. And a lot of people do prefer the lab because it is, you know, straightforward. Like, you can actually like, analyze the items. Here it is, like, you see it, you look at it, you put it in the bag, and it goes away again. And, you know,
But it's got to be really fun to like see
for
it
me,
and
it's like
find
you're the
it,
one who's
like-
pulling it out of the ground.
Yeah.
There's a real
What's the coolest thing you found?
basic reaction to that, yeah.
What's the coolest thing you found? Have you had one of those holy cow moments?
Coolest thing I found personally is actually, you know what jaw harps are?
Yeah. Yeah.
I found one of those from the Civil War era.
Really?
And it was like, it's not like an amazing find, it's going to revolutionize anything, but it was cool for me because it's got like a personal story behind it. It's not like a nail
Yeah.
or like a doorknob. It's like someone actually used this. This is a
Yeah.
musical instrument.
That's
And, you know,
neat.
it connects you to like the Civil War soldiers who were there then. And were stationed right here in the trench.
How about you? What was-
So I don't know if you've gotten to the part on the iPad about the wig curlers
Oh,
yet.
well, she was telling us about the wig curlers.
Yeah, so all of the wig curlers, we found about 200 of them,
Uh-huh.
and all of them have been like molded in
Uh-huh.
a sort of more of a mass production model.
Uh-huh.
But I found the only one that was handmade.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's great.
yeah, that was a really exciting moment. I mean,
I bet.
I pulled it out of the ground and I was like, hey, a wig curler. And I was like, oh, this looks kind of weird. And then turns out that was why.
And that means it's older, which means we can probably associate it with people who were here before George Washington in some way. Unless you got like a big old lot of used wig hair curlers, which doesn't make sense because they break really easily.
So I haven't gotten to the part about the wig curlers, but why? So there was mass production of it. So you think that that was before the Washingtons and
The odd thing is, typically wig production and maintenance was not done domestically. They would be boxed up and sent off to like the town wig maker. There was a professional who did it. But here, because of the amount of wig hair curlers, it was clearly being done by probably the slaves who were here. And that basically we do know that there was not a wig maintenance shop in Fredericksburg at the time. So it's like maybe it means that they were trying to like scratch up some extra money by doing it themselves, and it means that they were just trying to, you know, cut some costs. Because it is known that like he was here while Augustine Washington did die while they were living here, so income was curtailed. They weren't poor, but they did have to start being a bit more frugal in certain ways, and one of them probably was wig maintenance. It's just a little, you know, thing that helps to give you more context for how they were living here.
oh well, thank you. That's so interesting. Good luck. I hope you find something really great.
Thank you.